Welcome to another video from the grade 7 to 9 series of Strategy Maths. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through a very logical way in which to factorise quadratics that are in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. First of all, we're going to remind ourselves that factorising is the opposite of expanding brackets. So let's just go back to an expanding brackets question, such as 2x plus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 4. I'm going to use the grid method to multiply these two brackets together. So along the column here, I'm going to put 2x and the positive 3. And along the row, I'm going to put 3x and the positive 4. So inside the grid here, it's going to be the answer to 2x times 3x, which is 6x squared. Over here, that's going to be the result of 2x times 4, which is 8x. Down here, 3 times 3x is 9x. And 3 times 4 is 12. So when we've expanded that bracket, we've resulted in 4 terms. We've got 6x squared plus 8x plus 9x plus 12. And then, of course, we can simplify these like terms. So we end up with an answer of 6x squared plus 17x plus 12. What we're going to do now is we're going to have a go at factorising 6x squared plus 17x plus 12. And this is what we want to get as our answer. But how do we go back and reverse our steps? So let's suppose we haven't been given these factorised answers. We've just been given the quadratic and we've been asked to get back to this answer. So let's have a look how we can do that. So here we have our quadratic that we're going to factorise now in a logical fashion using the reversal of the grid method. The first thing that you need to do is multiply the coefficient of x squared with the constant number. So multiplying the value of a with c. So in this case, 6 times 12 is 72. We need to think of two numbers that multiply to make 72, but also have a sum of 17. So those two numbers would be 8 and 9. We're going to split the middle term, the 17x, now with those two numbers that we've just worked out, with 8x plus 9x plus 12. So you can see we've got the same quadratic as we do above. We've just split the middle term into these two different components. Next, we're going to record these 4 terms inside the grid, and you'll remember that these are the exact 4 terms that we had inside our grid when we expanded the brackets. What we're going to do now is we're going to find the highest common factor of this row of 6x squared and 8x, which is 2x. And when we multiply 2x by 3x, we'll get 6x squared. And when we multiply 2x by 4, we'll get 8x. Next, we need the highest factor of 9x and 12, which is 3. When we multiply 3 with 3x, we get 9x. And when we multiply 3 with 4, we get 12. So there we have it, 2x plus 3, 2x and a positive 3, multiplied by a 3x and a positive 4. We'll give our quadratic 6x squared plus 8x plus 9x plus 12. So there we have it, our factorised form in a nice and logical way. Okay, the next question that we're going to look at is 3x squared minus 16x minus 12. So the first step is to multiply 3 and negative 12 together, which is minus 36. And we need to think of two numbers that multiply to make minus 36, but they've got to have a sum of minus 16. Now, to get a result of minus 36 when we times two numbers together, one of the numbers has got to be negative and the other has got to be positive. So those two numbers are going to be minus 18 and 2. So we're ready to split the middle term and write it as minus 18x plus 2x. So again, we've got the same quadratic as above. We've just split that minus 16x into these two components. Now to use the grid method, the reversal of the grid, to find the factors. So inside the grid, we want 3x squared and a minus 18x. And underneath, we want a positive 2x and a minus 12. Next, we're going to look at this row and find the highest common factor of those, which is 3x. And when we multiply 3x by x, we get 3x squared. And when we multiply 3x by minus 6, we get minus 18x. Next, the highest factor of 2x and minus 12 is 2. Let's just double check. 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times minus 6 is minus 12. So there we have our factorised answer, a 3x and positive 2 multiplied by x and minus 6 will give us the quadratic that we started with. Okay, moving on to our next question, which is 6x squared minus 11x minus 10. Perhaps you'd like to have a go at this one, so pause the video and when you're ready, check your answer. So step 1 is to multiply 6 and negative 10 together, which is minus 60. We need to think of two numbers that multiply to make minus 60, but they also need to have a sum of negative 11. Like the previous question, one of the numbers is going to have to be negative and the other positive. So hopefully you've thought of minus 15 and positive 4. So we're going to split that middle term with minus 15x plus 4x. Again, this quadratic is the same as the one above. The minus 11x has been split into minus 15x plus 4x. Right, we're ready to record those four terms inside of our grid. So we have a 6x squared, a minus 15x, a 4x, and a minus 10. Okay, first row, what is the highest factor of 6x squared and minus 15x? That would be 3x. When we multiply 3x by 2x, we get 6x squared. And when we multiply 3x by minus 5, we get minus 15x. Highest factor of 4x and minus 10 is 2. When we multiply 2 with 2x, we get 4x. And when we multiply 2 with minus 5, we get minus 10. So inside the bracket, first bracket, we want the 3x and positive 2, so 3x plus 2. And in the other bracket, we want 2x and minus 5. So we're going to look at our final example in this video, which is 4x squared minus 11x plus 6. So again, pause the video if you'd like to have a go. We just have to be very careful of signs in this one. So 4 times 6 is our first step, which is 24. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 24 and have a sum of minus 11. Now, because we need to times two numbers and get a positive answer, and we also need to add the numbers and get a negative answer, we're looking for two negatives this time. We can multiply negative 8 and negative 3 to get positive 24. So that deals with that problem. And minus 8 add minus 3 is minus 11. So we're going to split the middle with a minus 8x minus 3x. Okay, just take a moment to verify that this line is the same as the line above. It is. The minus 11x has been split into minus 8x minus 3x. Now we're ready to do the reverse of the grid method. Put our four terms inside the grid. And then we're ready to find our factors. So for this row, our highest factor of 4x squared and minus 8x is 4x. When we multiply 4x by x, we get 4x squared. And when we multiply 4x by minus 2, we get minus 8x. Now be careful taking out the highest factor here. We would assume it's 3, but if we multiply 3 by x, we get positive 3x. So we're going to put a minus in front of the 3 and check that works to obtain the 6 over here. So it works for minus 3 times x, that's minus 3x, and minus 3 times minus 2 is positive 6. So we just have to be careful for that particular example and any other ones similar to it. So in the first bracket, we want 4x minus 3, and in the other bracket, we want x minus 2. So there is our factorised answer. So hopefully you have found this a really logical way in which to factorise these sorts of quadratics. This is not a standalone topic. It is essential to be able to factorise these sorts of questions because we're often required to formulate quadratic equations and solve unknowns. We use this skill in simplifying algebraic fractions. We use it within quadratic simultaneous equations, also for equations of chords and tangents to circles, and finding unknowns within probability questions. I mean, the list goes on. It really has got endless applications. So hopefully you can start to embed this particular method into your practice of factorising quadratics.